So table 1 caught a little mistake on this, that this should be 20 if we're even going to consider it as making sense. But what do we think? Who's right? Only okay, 2 tables are raising their hand. I should have at least 6 hands in the air. 3, 4, okay. All right, I'm going to go over here real quick. Elizabeth, what do you think? If you agree, if your table agreed that this one was correct, can you guys raise your hand?
Which one?
That Miguel was correct. So table 5's with you, or at least one person.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So what do the rest of you guys think? Kayla, what did you think?
We tried to Katie, but then it do end in a 0, so Miguel might be right.
Tell me more about that. You said it ends in a 0. I'm not sure I understand.
Because if it was just a factor, it wouldn't have a 0 on the end, would it? If it was to start like that, it wouldn't have no 0 on the end.
Oh, so you're saying if this wasn't here, so if it looked like that, so it just ended in equals 20, then you'd factor?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys agree with Kayla?
Yes. Yes.
I thought I heard a no. Did you say no, Jocelyn?
Okay.
Okay. So you agree that this is starting to factor it. I like that. How does it change when we add that 0 on the end? How does the problem change by adding that 0? What changes about it? Does that question make sense?
No.
Thank you, Lupita. I appreciate it. Like when we add that 0, it changes something about the problem. It changes what we're looking for, right? Once we add that 0, we can actually find the x that's going to make this equation true. So, I have one more question for you guys. Anybody liking Stefan's answer? Stefan's way of starting? You like it? Tell me more about why, Jocelyn.
Problem for Sarah and Miguel's problem is the quadratic formula, and it might get another different answer.
So you think Miguel's going to get a different answer, but this one?
Yeah, because what's it called? Miguel's problem. They gave the A, B, and C, and it's gonna be different. And Stefan's is looking for it's only for the x, because you brought 14 next to the other side, and that equals 14.
Okay, so now he's changed it so we're starting to get x's on one side. We still have x squareds and numbers over here, right?
Because we use Miguel's, what's it called? It will be a different one because it's quadratic formula. And they're going to be equals x equals something else.
Interesting. Okay, so you think quadratic formula is going to get us to a different x place. Yeah. Okay, so I need somebody, now you guys have said what you think for yourselves. Now I need you to start arguing with each other a little bit. Right? So is anybody willing to argue a little bit with Jocelyn and somebody who didn't think Stefan was right? Or to argue a little bit with Kayla, who thought Katie was right? Who's willing to open up that math discussion? We can argue with Miguel, too. I'm just looking for somebody. You said what you think, but now maybe we need to talk about who started, how we think, or why we think one of these started incorrectly. If this is Katie's work, she's starting to factor it. What's going to happen? What's it going to look like after she finishes factoring? Right, we're going to have some expressions here. We're going to have this be like plus something and this be plus something. So eventually we'll have a problem that looks like this, right? With our two x's and our x. Can we keep solving this to find x? Yeah. So even though it starts looking like she's doing a different problem, if she keeps going, we might be able to get where we want to go. So do you think this is going to get us to a solution? I see Rodney nodding. Yeah.
With that, you can find x by itself.
We can get this down to where we'll have like x equals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe Katie's works. Yeah? So we like Katie's starting place, but that doesn't mean the other two are wrong. Often there's more than one way to do these. So how about Stefan's? Does seeing where Katie's going to change anybody's thinking about Stefan's, make them want to say yes, he's on the right track, or no, he's not? You guys aren't usually this shy. Okay. If we start working along these problems, right? He's starting to get his x's over here. What would his next step be? What would you try next?
What is the left to try? Because still got that 2x.
2x squared. So we still have this.
And then 14x is on the other side. What is there left to factor? I don't know. What would we need to do next?
Can you guys hear Kayla?
Yeah.
Dilsa, can you hear her? You're asking these really smart questions and really important questions. You're wondering in all the right places, and you're doing it very quietly. Can you say it one more time?
You still got the 20 on the side too, and you got the 14x on that side. What is there left to factor?
Yeah, what is there left to factor? Ronald?
And I never did a problem like this, that as far as x squared being in the problem.
Oh, we gotta make zeros?
I never did.
And then have to make zeros with them.
Even if we keep making zeros and we like take 2x squared from each side, right? We still end up over here with something that we can't quite factor yet. And Ronald, I couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
I said I never did a problem like this as far as x squared.
Yeah, when there's an x squared, we don't usually move things around so much, right? We want it to equal 0 so that we can factor it. So Stefan's not doing something that's mathematically illegal. He's keeping the equation balanced, but it's not going to move us towards a solution. Okay? So his first step isn't going to get us where we want to go. Okay? So
He's wrong.
he is wrong. Now Miguel's is a little different. Can you guys tell me how many of you have looked at the quadratic formula, this fancy formula in Algebra B at this point? Have you guys looked at this with Mr. Cabana? Okay, so when we're using the quadratic formula, when do you use it? We haven't talked about it in here at all.
So then I mean we don't know.
No. If you know it from Algebra B, you know. When do you use it?
Find the x-intercept.
You use it to find x-intercepts? Yes. You use it to find x-intercepts. When do you do this instead of factoring?
When your problem looks like that?
Sometimes doing this is shorter, right? When you can't factor it, exactly, Luis. And like Lupita said, sometimes even when you can, if you're having trouble finding the numbers, this can be an easier way to do it. And we're going to look at this a lot after spring break and work on this formula. So starting with this, though, if we're finding x-intercepts, like Luis said, then we're still finding x with this formula, even though we start with a, b, and c. So this will still take us to finding x-intercepts. So this is also an okay way to start. So both Katie and Miguel have ways to start that are going to help us get the answers. Okay? Stefan's not doing something mathematically wrong, but it's definitely not going to get us there quickly. Okay?